Henry here with Park City Toastmasters Club in Park City, Utah. I was recently at an event and heard two speakers who were given an hour each. And unfortunately, successful leaders are not always great communicators. There were four critical mistakes that these leaders made in their presentation. Number one is they gave us way too much information. Blah, blah, blah. The first speaker, in fact, gave us 3 speeches. He went on and on 90% of his time with one topic with way too many points, way too many ideas. Then he went on and gave us some further thoughts on leadership for a few minutes. And then he transitioned into yet another sub-speech about some additional thoughts. What? I can't process that many ideas. Too much information. Same thing happened with the second speaker. She was more new school. She had her PowerPoint going, and she promised to not commit death by PowerPoint, but she did anyway. She had all these slides, and one of them in particular stands out to me. It had 5 buttons or big points, and then it had some sub-points with them, and I just cringed when that slide came up, and I didn't want to hear a piece of it. It totally lost me because it was too much information. I didn't want all that information. She was giving me all this backstory that was unnecessary. She could have done a much faster flyover of her history, but she gave us too much information. Point number 1. Point number 2. Both of these speakers failed to tell a good story. The first speaker had all the makings. It had both of them had great success stories. They had all the makings, all the background to tell us a great personal story or a story from their organization. The first one was from an athletic organization. I wanted desperately to hear a story about one of their athletes. Specific story. This is what they were struggling with, and they made these changes. We worked on these areas, and we were at this event, and we were all hoping that this athlete would have this great breakthrough, and they were battling against this other opponent, and their first run they did poorly, and we were really concerned, and then their second run they just blew the socks off everybody. I wanted to hear that story, and never got told. And the same with the second speaker. Had all the makings for a great story from an employee or from herself that was more personal. It wasn't more of this broad 10-year story. It was, this event happened. This was really a critical moment in our company and changed things. They failed to tell a riveting story. The third mistake that both of these speakers made is they failed to communicate with passion. The first speaker was more subdued. The second speaker had a lot of energy and excitement, but they didn't speak with passion. The first speaker, it was right towards the end, he started getting real animated and excited, even though he spent a lot of time talking about the importance of communicating the message and the culture of their organization passionately. He wasn't doing that with us. He just started to get excited. Oh, here we go. He's going to get passionate about something. And then he started to get excited, and then, woo, trickled off again. Don't save your passion till the end and then don't even get going on it. The same with the second speaker. She had a lot of energy, but I wasn't sensing passion and excitement about a particular thing. Don't save the exciting things till the end. I remember as a pastor, when I was first starting out, the first couple years, I'd prepare these long, boring sermons that had all this background information that was leading up to the real exciting part. And I'd get real excited at the end, and it took me a while to figure out, why am I giving all this background information when I'm really excited about the kernel, this nugget that I learned from my studies and my personal experience that I was really excited about sharing? Just skip the other part. Or breeze through some of that background stuff really quickly just to set it up, and then communicate with passion. And when I discovered that, it was a game changer for me. It really changed my speaking style, and people enjoyed listening to me far more, far more. So don't save your energy and your passion to the last. You speak from your heart and your passion throughout. The fourth mistake that these two speakers made is they failed to give any time or allow for interaction. They had 2 hours, mind you, and there was supposed to be time for Q&A at the end. There were 7 minutes left at the end of the whole thing for Q&A. 7 minutes? Really? People are there to interact and learn from you, and we don't want to just have one person giving us all information and no chance for input, because we may want to pull something out from you that you maybe didn't prepare to or intend to share from us, but we want more information or a story about this subject or this idea that you brought up, and they didn't allow for that. They didn't allow for, and they didn't even pull anything from the audience. We can leave more time for Q&A at the end, or during our presentation we can ask for input from the audience. Why wouldn't you do that? If you want to engage your audience, you want to be a great public speaker, a great communicator, engage your audience. And they failed to engage us. And they bored us and made us uncomfortable and disappointed our expectations. So 4 things to avoid as a public speaker. Don't give too much information. Remember to share a riveting story. And communicate from your heart and with passion. And engage the audience. Interact. Allow for and plan for interaction with the audience. And you'll do quite well. John Henry, ParkCityToastmasters.org.